pretty much, I mean, when we would travel around Africa, I think that's most of my early encounters with Lamin. In fact, I think Mike would talk about too, that we were kind of Lamin's first opportunity to come back to Africa. You know, he himself was a converted Muslim. He pretty much had not, after he arrived at Yale, he had not been back in Africa. So we had invited him to this first conference that we had in 2007. And it was fascinating to be with him in Africa, because we would travel with him to Uganda, Nigeria, and places like that. And he was like a rock star, I think, in Africa. It was fun to watch him, because, in fact, when we were at Senegal, for instance, they actually played the Sanneh anthem. I think it was, you know, he had those connections. But Lamin was one of those wonderful people that you get to meet once in a lifetime. I mean, his grasp of the African context and the African kind of the Christian-Muslim relationships were, you know, one of those things that I think both of us benefited from, just to see how he was able to navigate kind of both sides of that world, but also recognize, you know, these chief African theologians like Tertullian and Augustine, who helped, you know, kind of, how should we say, inform the conversation in many ways. So it was just fun to watch him lecture, and you'd have these huge crowds that would show up, and it was so.
So I'll just add one thing on Lamin. Lamin's real big insight was in his first book, one of his books called Translation and Message, and that basically Christianity is a translated religion. It's translated not only into the vernacular, but also into the cultural idioms of the community. So actually, pre-Christian culture influences how Christianity is received into the body of Christ, as you might say. So, and that this was, it might seem like a simple insight to people today, but at the time it was really kind of groundbreaking, especially because if you look at Islam, when you talk about Christianity or talk about Islam, then what's the name of God? It's always Allah. But for Christianity, the name of God was the local language, was used in the local language. And so, you know, the Christian missionaries were actually kind of at a disadvantage. They would go into these communities and they would ask, Lamin would always enjoy telling this story. They would ask the local leaders, what is your name of God? And they would look at him and they would go, you've come all this way and you don't even know God's name. And so, but then they would say that God is the Father of Jesus. And so there's a translation. So all that translation of that culture was brought into this literary language in the translation of the Bible, and that actually began to form these cultures and these written cultures in Africa and around the world. And so his whole point too was that Christianity was always a non-European religion, and that it's a mistake to think of it just in terms of European, that there's actually every culture has something to contribute to the body of Christ. And if you look at kind of Paul's metaphor of that the church is a building under construction, that building is still being constructed. And it's being constructed with the addition of these other cultures and peoples and languages into the body of Christ.